So, when you look at a massive construction site, or maybe a really complex mining operation, you probably just see heavy machinery, right? But you're actually looking at the hidden, precision-engineered backbone of global infrastructure. Today, in this explainer, we're demystifying Chinese Special Purpose Vehicles, or SVPs, because honestly, these aren't just trucks. They are highly specialized, multi-million-dollar problem solvers that are literally keeping the modern world turning.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at what goes beyond the standard truck. Then, Part 2, the anatomy of an SPV. 3, the 5 core SPV classifications. 4, we'll dive into engineering, safety, and standards. And finally, Part 5, the future, intelligent SPVs.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, beyond the standard truck.
Now, there is a really stark contrast in purpose here. Think about your standard truck. It basically has one main job, right? Moving general freight from point A to point B, usually in a box or maybe on a flatbed. But a special purpose vehicle, that is a whole different ballgame. It's equipped with permanent, highly specialized equipment to perform really complex tasks. If standard trucks are the conveyor belts of the highway, SPVs are the heavy-duty multi-tools engineered for extremely high-stress mechanical workflows.
To lock down a definition, especially within the context of Chinese industrial manufacturing, an SPV is a vehicle that is purpose-built, or at least heavily modified, for specific operations. As a global manufacturing powerhouse, China engineers these machines to solve hyper-specific logistics problems. So, when a project manager in a remote mining town or a rapidly expanding megacity needs a solution, they aren't just shopping for a truck. They are looking for a precision-engineered SPV.
Okay, let's get under the hood. Section 2, anatomy of an SVP.
Every single SPV fundamentally relies on what we can call the big three components. It's kind of like a giant Swiss Army knife. The chassis is your handle. That provides your mobility and your structural foundation. Then the superstructure is the specialized tool bolted right on top, whether that happens to be a water tank, a crane, or a garbage compactor. But the real magic, that happens at the power takeoff, or the PTO, which acts as the crucial interface connecting the two.
So, the PTO is this absolutely vital gearbox. It actually intercepts mechanical power generated by the vehicle's engine and transfers it directly into the hydraulic pumps of the superstructure. This is so cool because it allows a massive garbage compactor to crush waste or a giant crane to lift heavy steel beams, even while the vehicle is just idling or moving at a crawl. It effectively turns the vehicle's engine into a mobile power plant for heavy machinery.
Moving right along to Section 3, the 5 core SPV classifications.
So how do engineers actually sort all these out? Well, they use a specific classification framework with 5 main buckets. We've got tanker vehicles for liquids and gases, sanitation and environmental for urban waste, construction and engineering for the heavy lifting, emergency and medical for crisis response, and specialty logistics for sensitive cargo. This matrix is exactly how a project manager decides what to procure. Like, if you just need to suppress dust on a job site, a basic water tanker totally does the job. But if you are fighting a high-risk industrial chemical fire, you're jumping straight into the emergency and medical category for a highly engineered municipal firefighting unit with advanced digital control systems.
And a huge part of this is modularity. By focusing on modular designs, Chinese manufacturers can take a perfectly reliable standardized chassis and customize the superstructure to serve almost every sector of modern society. Literally, a single chassis model could roll off the assembly line and become a disaster relief command center, or, with a different setup, a heavily insulated pharmaceutical cold chain unit. It's just the ultimate display of engineering flexibility.
Which brings us to Section 4, engineering, safety, and standards. Because let's think about this for a second. What actually happens when you strap a 50-meter aerial ladder or a giant concrete pump to a standard truck chassis? Well, you drastically change the physics. The center of gravity, or COG, becomes a critical do-or-die engineering calculation. Because SPVs carry incredibly heavy asymmetrical loads, Chinese engineers use advanced CAD software and finite element analysis to perfectly balance that COG. If they get it wrong, that improper weight distribution causes blown tires, snapped frames, or even catastrophic vehicle rollovers the second a boom is extended.
And safety doesn't stop at physics. It goes deep into metallurgy and materials sciences. If you are engineering a chemical tanker, you absolutely must use specialized stainless steel or aluminum alloys with anti-corrosive internal linings, obviously, right? But for a concrete mixer, corrosion isn't really the main enemy. Abrasion is.
So engineers have to pivot to high-strength, wear-resistant steel that can withstand tons of heavy aggregate rock, just constantly scraping against the inside of the drum, day in and day out.
With stakes this high, the quality testing is incredibly rigorous. Tanks are subjected to intense hydraulic pressure tests to guarantee zero leaks. Critical welds on heavy lifting cranes? They are literally scanned with X-ray flaw detection, and entire vehicles undergo extreme stability tilt tests. These micro-level testing stages are strictly enforced, for sure, because the macro-level goal is preventing deadly disasters in critical municipal or mining infrastructure projects globally.
To guarantee all this safety, these vehicles are governed by a really strict web of regulatory frameworks. You've got the GB or GOBL standards dictating dimensions, the CCC certification for your baseline safety, and ISO 9001 integration making sure international durability benchmarks are met. Plus, and this is a really smart move from a global export perspective, Chinese manufacturers offer diverse engine configurations. They seamlessly adapt these massive heavy vehicles to Euro 5 or Euro 6 emission standards, clearing global environmental hurdles without missing a single beat.
All right, let's shift gears. Section 5, the future, intelligent SPVs. So we have to ask, what actually is the future of this special purpose vehicle? We know the industry has completely mastered the steel, the hydraulics, and the chassis. So what's the next great leap? Well, the answer requires a total shift in thinking, from purely mechanical hardware to smart software.
Welcome to the era of the intelligent SPV. The modern evolution of Chinese manufacturing is integrating the Internet of Things, or IoT, directly into the superstructure itself. These vehicles are no longer just mechanical assets. By embedding literally thousands of sensors into the working body of the vehicle, operators can now monitor the health and performance of the machine in real time. It turns a simple truck into a highly monitored, connected, smart machine.
Just to put that into perspective, think about a smart concrete mixer. Instead of the driver just crossing their fingers and hoping the cement doesn't dry out in heavy traffic, embedded sensors track the exact humidity of the mix in real time, allowing them to adjust on the fly. Or look at fuel theft, which is a massive issue in global logistics. By integrating GPS-linked flow meters, a smart tanker physically prevents unauthorized discharge if the truck isn't at the correct pre-approved GPS coordinates. I mean, that elevates task-oriented automotive engineering to a completely new level.
So as these vehicles continue to evolve from heavy mechanical lifters into these deeply connected, data-driven smart machines, we're left with a really big question. How will intelligent SPVs reshape our entire global industrial ecosystem? From maintaining city sewers to lifting skyscraper steel, these hidden precision machines are going to continue driving global industry forward. Keep an eye out for them. They are absolutely everywhere, and you know what? They are only getting smarter.